Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. This little vise came home from the Habitat for Humanity restore. And one of the guys mentioned that it might be a northern vise, northern Yankee vise. And I'm looking here on the side, because when I looked up northern Yankee vises, they had the name inscribed on the side of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp this up in the vise here. Having several on hand, this was one that I thought was pretty cool, but it turns out that the handle is so small, it's hard to use. This one is nice. Despite its thirst for blood. That's the one that cut my thumb. But I'm not seeing anything inscribed on the side of this vise. In betwixt and between all the crap on there, I thought perhaps there was something right here. That could just be marks from where it was clamped in something in another lifetime. Because I'm not seeing anything that looks like numbers stamped into the body of the vise. Numbers or letters or anything like that. Still, I'm managing to clean it up. Yep, that's just 3 scratch marks where something was gripping it. Hard enough to dent the cast iron. Well, that's too bad. It's always nice to have a name to give something. And this one does have that unique feature of the movable jaw. Ah, here we go. On the opposite side. Right there. Plain sight, I can see it through the schmoo, as AVE calls it. Well, this acetone is very aggressive at removing oils from your skin. Also, if you have a cut, it can be really painful having it introduced into your body through a non-traditional portal. Beautiful. It is a Yankee number 990, North Bros Manufacturing Company, Philadelphia, U.S.A. Patent DFC 814. I don't know if that's 8.14. DFC 814. Yep. Cool. Now I have a name to go with the item. Now, I don't polish these things up. I mean, on the rare occasion I do. But generally, I'm looking to make it into useful tools, because my goal here is to make things that I can fix other things with, you know, using tools to make tools to fix tools. So we're just going to wire brush this thing down. Clean off the schmoo. Straighten out the handle. Now, since this is proven out to be a northern vise, then the other things that I've read about northerns and saw pictures of probably hold true. This has a ball type base like the Panavise to allow it to be held at various angles. Now, I don't see this as being a collector's item. I mean, with the base, I guess it's got higher value. And I suppose if it had a base, it would have a higher value for me too. For me, it's mostly just that it's a very nice, well-made tool. Hasn't seen too much abuse. It's got some. There's some things on here that are kind of boogered up. Like when I got it, it was really rusty. I mean, the screw would just barely turn. But I was able to clean that up and get it in good enough condition to use. Let's take this apart and clean it a little. When I first got it, this was just sliding back and forth, and this was not connected. I think I mentioned in the first video that this screw goes through the jaw like so. Spin that out. The end is bent just a little bit. Got a few oopsies on it. Yeah, this has been chewed up. And when they turned it down, they just barely went to the base of the thread, so that there's still just a little bit of thread there and it engages the hole. That's okay, we can leave it like that. Won't hurt anything. Don't want to grip it too tightly. This is cast iron. You can break that right off right there. And that would be most upsetting. Okay, now back to the original talk. This screw goes into there and slides back and forth. Well, somebody took this apart and didn't realize that that little step, that little downsize on the end there, that little bit of a reduction in diameter where they cleaned off the threads, that is there so that when this is introduced into that, and then this is tightened into it, that captures that screw and makes it so that the vise slides back and forth. When this screw retracts, it pulls it, and when it advances, it pushes it. Having a nice big vise is always handy. Compressing it this way, it's a lot stronger, so I'm able to engineer who taught me how to be a machinist always called those Dornicks. He's a Polish fellow named Frank Mfg from the little town of Bronson, just 11 miles from my birthplace, Coldwater. And he very patiently taught I and my partner the ins and outs and roundabouts of cleaning, cutting, filing, and polishing. Spent a lot of time polishing draw dies because we were working with brass, and brass you cannot have any rough spots. It'll just grab a hold of the brass and tear it. Frank taught me, but he also was a nice guy that I liked working with. Whenever I assembled a die, I was supposed to do this to every component. Take a file and run it across it, and that shows off the high spots. Everywhere there's a dent that would stop the two surfaces from mating closely together. Now this one was machined a little bit out of square because I'm hitting this edge and that edge and a little bit in the center of this one. This one, not so much. Looks like it was done in a horizontal mill because of the way the marks are, the machining marks are on the base of it. And the mill wasn't exactly square when they were making this thing.
Managed to remove all the Dornicks on the thing and get the bumps and dents and wrinkles and things out of the edges. But next step is actually squaring the block up. But since we're already up to almost 20 minutes, I think I'm going to stop that one here and we'll pick that up tomorrow. If you have any suggestions for new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching. This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.